Hey guys, Viking 82 here, back to show us some more plunder that I've acquired over the last little while. All this stuff is from the May 2022 Bandcamp Friday. I know it's almost the end of June, but I had to wait for some things that were not going to be shipping until June to arrive. I'm still waiting on one thing to arrive, and I'll get into that later. But I'm going to kick things off with this awesome shirt from the Indie Deathmongers, Obscene artwork shirt for their brand new album, From Dead Horizon to Dead Horizon. This was a no-brainer purchase for me. I actually just did a review of this album, so if you want my full thoughts on it, go check out that review. And all I can say is definitely pick that up. Definitely one of the best death metal albums of the year, in my opinion. And now we're going to get into the digital copies here, because some of these did not have physical releases yet. And we're going to kick things off with Spiteful Visions, who are a technical melodic death metal band out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Not quite sure when they exactly formed. This actually features Coagulate bassist and a Topef, I believe that's how you pronounce your name. If not, I apologize. On the bass here, this is their debut self-titled EP, independently put out by the band, and is actually released in memory of their guitarist, Stuart Stelter, who has passed away tragically. But yeah, this is just some awesome sounding. It sounds more like, definitely leans more towards the tech death side, I think, especially in the vocals, but they definitely have some melodic death metal elements in their sound as well. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have Incongruous with Upheaval of Autophagus Wisdom, and this is a one-man doom death project out of Mexico City, Mexico. Been around since 2014, and I actually discovered them through my buddy Brian Rush, who you've heard me mention plenty of times on this channel. This is the first EP from this project, independently put out digitally by the band, or the man, I guess you could say. And then Necrolatry Records has put out a tape release of this, which I would love to find a copy of at some point. But this is just some raw, disgusting sounding doom death. Highly recommended. Next up, we have Visions of Annihilation with their Demo 2021. Brutal death metal out of Edinburgh, Texas. Not sure when this project formed, but this is their debut demo, independently put out digitally by the band just last year. Of course, I just did a review not long ago of their debut full-length album, and this is just, much like that debut, more solid Texas-style brutal death metal. Definitely go check them out. Then we have Srefa, Srefa, and this is a black metal band out of Israel. Been around since 2020, and this is the band's debut EP, independently released digitally by the band, and this is just some solid black metal. Definitely one that needs to be checked out. Next up, we have Massacred. And I forgot the name of the thing. I forgot to write it down, but yeah, this is a basically a brutal death metal / grindcore, one-man project out of Argentina. Been around since 2017. This is his debut full-length album, independently put out by him digitally, and it is basically a Resident Evil themed album. Yeah. Awesome stuff. If you basically, are missing Mortician or really anxious for them to put out some new material, go check out Massacred, because this guy does a hell of a Mortician tribute, because he sounds a lot like Mortician. Next up, now these next two, I actually ended up with the physical copies after I bought these digitally, because at the time that was all that I thought I was going to be able to get. But yeah, first one up is Morgul Blade with Fell Sorcery Abounds. Awesome album cover there. Heavy metal band out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Been around since 2018. This is the debut full-length album put out on No Remorse Records just last year. Now, while they are listed as heavy metal, and they do have some clean vocals, they tend to also lean more towards the harsher, almost kind of death metal-ish, black metal-ish, though not in the growl, shriek type, but definitely more harsher vocals mixed in with the cleans. But yeah, really solid album. Definitely go check those dudes out. And then we have Blight Mass with Severed from Your Soul. And this is a death metal band, kind of an international death metal band, actually, because they have members in France as well as the U.S. Been around since 2014. Members come from various projects such as The Absence, Malevolent Creation, Brutality, etc. This is their debut full-length album put out by Great Dane Records in 2019, and really solid album. definitely go check this one out. I cannot wait to pick up their next full-length album. Now, there is one other one that I did buy the CD, but I have to settle for having the digital copy for right now because apparently they forgot to update their Bandcamp, and they're like 2 months away from getting a restock of the CD, so I gotta wait for it, which is fine. At least I know I have it, and I've got the digital copy to hold me over till then. But that is Cerebral Desecration. And again, I forgot to write down the damn album title because I don't have it right here with me, obviously. But yeah, they are a death thrash band from San Marcos, Texas. Been around since 2010 and features members of Scars of the Flesh and Wings of Abaddon, among others. And this is the band's second full-length album, independently put out by the band. And really solid stuff. I definitely got to track down a copy of their debut full-length. All right. Moving on from the digital files, we're going to get into some tapes now, starting with Noxus and Paths of Visceral Fears. Sorry, trying to fight the glare here. And yeah, Noxus are a death metal band out of Cleveland, Ohio, been around since 2019, featuring current and former members of Nunslaughter, Inoculation, Kamikabe, among others. And this is basically a compilation of all the band's recorded material up until now, put up by Life After Death Productions, 2022 release, limited to 200 copies. And this is just some heavy, old school style death metal. Highly recommend checking this one out. Then we have Contusion with their, I think it's just called the Contusion Demo. So, sorry, still trying to fight that glare. But yeah, this is a death metal band. No really information on where they're from or when they formed, but this is a two-man project featuring current and former members of Repulsion, Mammoth Grinder, among others. This is the debut EP put out by the band themselves just this year, and this is just some raw, heavy death metal. Really sick stuff. Really enjoyed this demo. Cannot wait to see what else this band has in store. Next up, we have Apostasy with the Unknown Path. And Apostasy are a black thrash band out of Chile, been around since 1988. This is their second EP overall, put out digitally by the band back in 2020. This is a 2022 tape reissue by Sentient Ruin Laboratories. And yeah, excellent black thrash. Highly recommend checking this one out as well. Next up, Rotted with Rotting in Chicago. Now, if you're not familiar with Rotted, they are a death metal band out of Illinois, been around since 2016, and this is basically a live album recorded at Reggie's Rock Club in Chicago on August 14th of 2021, put out by the band themselves, limited to 50 copies. Mine is number 12 of 50, and that, as you can see, is DIY as it gets. Love Rotted. All right, next up, I actually have 2 copies of this one, but this is Frozen Soul with Encased in Ice. Now, if you're not familiar with Frozen Soul, they are a death metal band from Fort Worth, Texas. Been around since 2018. This is the band's debut demo, put out originally by Maggot Stomp on CD and cassette back in 2019. These, since there's 2 of them, are Corpse Gristle reissues. You have 2 different versions here. I have the blue and silver glitter version, which was limited to 100 copies. And then when they got these in, I posted these later on that day. I had to pick one up. These are the UV cassettes. Really badass looking. These were limited to 200 copies, and they also have a smoky variant, which was available limited to 100 copies. And of course, had to get the CD version as well. And all that came with this really badass guitar pick to add to my collection. Alrighty, moving right along here. Got just a little bit left here. We have Blood Incantation with Live Vitrification. And yeah, definitely the band that put out a very polarizing release this year. But yeah, this is a death metal band out of Denver, Colorado. Been around since 2011. And this right here is basically a soundboard recording recorded on May 4th of 2018 of their songs Vitrification of Blood Part 1 and Hidden Species Vitrification of Blood Part 2 as just one long continuous, like, just under 20 minutes long track. And yeah, put out independently by the band themselves back in 2020 on CD, cassette, and vinyl as well. Next three are all from the same band, and that is Yatra. And they started out as a sludge, stoner, doom band early on, but now they're more of a death and roll type band from Ocean City, Maryland. Been around since 2018. You have Blood of the Night, which is their second full-length album put out by STB Records in 2020. Then you have All Is Lost, which is their third full-length put out by Grimoire Records back in 2020. And then their latest one, Born into Chaos, put out by Prosthetic Records just here recently. Excellent band. I've definitely got to track down their debut. And last but most certainly not least, I did a review of this as well. Some more killer Texas death metal. This is Hasserot with Throne of Malice. Death metal out of Houston, Texas. Been around since 2020. This is their debut EP put up by Redefining Darkness just this year. And it was actually released on my birthday, but I wasn't able to get the CD in until just earlier this month. Highly recommended checking that one out as well. So yeah, that is going to do it. I had a lot to get through there. Sorry if I seemed like I was rushing anything. Yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.